Y'all don't understand. And Truth Under Babylon's empiricism. What up? Ayo, once again. Yeah, I haven't been on here in a while, obviously. I'm going to start posting. I keep saying that. I'm going to start posting more and more. Honestly, folks, I am tired of talking. You guys are like some hard-headed ass kindergartners who just don't want to sit still, don't want to pay attention, don't want to, look at the writing on the wall and actually read it. It's amazing to me. So when they say all these things to you through propaganda, through the news media, through the channels of information transfer from the living to the dead, you seem to take it all face value for what it is, knowing that these creatures have been lying to you forever. It's just amazing to me. So they talk about the things like the debt ceiling and how that's a looming circumstance that is going to be detrimental for a lot of people here. And I don't think anyone really in their own domestic space has forum or contemplate any implications of that reality. We get a lot of, over the years, we could say the cry wolf scenario, where they're talking about, recessions and money crashing and all these different things that we've been talking about all through the years, which has people conditioned in a way where they think, oh, well, it'll fix itself. That very cry wolf story is relevant because at some point it ain't going to fix itself. And everything that they were talking about actually becomes, in your face reality. So these are one of the things that I like to talk about because the lies of language deceive you. And that's what they're designed for, to deceive you, to manipulate you, to convince you that you are doing things that you're not, or you're not doing things that you are. And I say this over and over again. This is what this language is for. We use this language to communicate, obviously. So we settled in on this dimension of intelligence where we transfer information using, our lungs, larynx, and, voice box and windpipes to push out sounds that we create words with. So this is how we communicate, like little mockingbirds. Shit like that is basically all it is. Now, the intent behind these words, that's the most important thing. Where do these utterings come from? These hymns of spellion that hypnotize you, that convince you that, you might not be as secure as you think you are. So with all this understanding, with these notions, you must have an apt mind, an independent thought. You must have a lot of conviction, and you must have just, any kind of discernment that will allow you to speak and feel and express yourself freely and think freely. That's the main idea here, to think freely. So I said all that to say, number one, I'm tired of talking to y'all because, like I said, you're like little kindergartners. Can't sit still, can't pay attention. You are in trouble. You are in some serious ass, no good, lousy trouble. They are closing in on all sides on Africa, which they have been for hundreds of years. And I said it before, they did not enslave you for a couple hundred years just to say that you're free and let you go ahead and try to do whatever you're doing. No, this is war, sir, ma'am. This is war. This has been war. If you don't understand war, then you will just be, a casualty of it. Now, unfortunately, we all are basically casualties of war because we're living through ignorance. We don't want to protect ourselves. We're drinking from the rivers of the Nile, and the rivers of the Nile are very quenching, very soothing, very pacifying. But what you don't know is that extra dimension of intelligence. There's always other areas of frequency and information resonance. And those rivers of the Nile are fed by the oceans of truth. And when the levees break, you know what happens after that. So they talk about floods for a reason. These are the utterings of an agendized purpose that you hear through media, the channels of the network that transfer the information from the living to the dead. We are the dead, the walking dead. You need a medium in order to channel information coming from another realm, which is death. You want to speak to your great-great-grandmother, you hire a medium to make that connection. If you want to speak the hymns of the devil, If you want to communicate these orders of Satan, you need a medium, which is the media. The media is how you communicate between the living and the dead, how you get the information from the living to the dead. The living, where they all clap their hands and they applaud and they watch all the chaos below. And they hand out the parameters and the protocols for the dead to assume that they're living. And that's what they do very perfectly. That's what's going on here. You are the walking dead. You are a part of a big giant Hunger game that's just, disrespectful and oppressive and blatantly in your face. And this is the reality of us. We are nothing but money transfer agents. We take money from the system, put it in our hands, transfer it from one hand to another, right back to the hands that gave it to us. We're basically just a relay agent in a relay race that goes nowhere. It goes nowhere, but all it does is just achieve the spoils of all these dimensions of purpose that they get to roam, visit, enjoy. And we are basically just being used as the fuel to power their tyranny and their ignorance and their synthetic sentience of a basically nefarious reference that comes from just the protocols of just calculations and formulas and algorithms that has no feelings or reference to any kind of emotion or accountability. So don't look for none. Don't try to understand this thinking like a human. You never will. You'll just be in the same spot talking about politics and bureaucracy and economics and all this shit that means absolutely nothing when you're dead. And we walk around like that.